Welcome to Profile Pod TV. I'm your host, Andy Anatomical, aka Double K, Double K, Double A, Double A. How's everybody doing out there today? I got a special guest in store for today's episode. Really excited about our guest. Before we get to our guest, though, I want to say I'm just kind of still riding high from last night's episode with Mega Man and Chris from Kickback Podcast. Had a lot of fun last night. So if you haven't seen that episode, catch it on YouTube. You can see it in its entirety. The link is also in my bio on Instagram at Profile Pod TV or at 90s Galore. So check that out, man. If you want to be entertained, if you want to see a good podcast, if you want to laugh, then check out that episode on YouTube, Profile Pod TV. So big shout out to those guys and also everybody who tuned in last night. Big shout out to you. Almost a 3-hour episode. So that was we were making podcasting history last night and here on Profile Pod TV. So check that out, man. And so I want to continue to collaborate with those guys and continue to move forward. So thanks again to everybody from last night's special event. Really excited about that one. So I'm just pleased to be a part of it. I'm glad it was here on Profile Pod TV. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Follow us at Profile Pod TV again and 90s Galore. Apple Podcasts, write us a review, rate and review, the 5 stars, all that good stuff, man. You guys know the drill, right? We sound like broke records, but hey, you know what? It's important. You can't have a show without an audience, and I'm grateful that we have an audience. I'm grateful for all the listeners and viewers. So thank you. And thank you once again for tuning in today for our episode. And this is, wherever you're tuning in from, obviously this is not a live episode, but we typically go live, but due to the time zone differences, we had to schedule different. We just had to do it differently this time. So, which is no big deal. No big deal. We're still going to have a great episode. We're going to have a lot of fun today. And we're going to feature our guest. So, and if you want to be a part of this show, if you want to come on and be profiled, let us profile you. Yeah, let us, let's get you some more exposure. Let's showcase you. This is the show about you, show about the guest. This is all about the guest. Where we interview our guests, we talk about their experiences, we talk about their skills, their talents, whatever they're doing. Whether it's a podcast, whether it's a small business, whether they're an actor, musician, producers. We want people who are inspiring, who are motivating, and who are captivating. Bottom line. Okay. I just noticed I have my. I hope you like my. What is that? My Frozen portrait on my shoulder here. So I drew that. I painted that, by the way. No. Anyways, so let's get to our show. So we have our guest hailing out of London, England, in the UK. This gentleman has done a lot of impressive work. He's basically he's a man of master of all many talents. He is a filmmaker, a musician, music producer, and he also holds down a full-time job. Again, I can't say how impressed I am with this gentleman. I'm really glad he's here to talk about his story, to talk about his career and all of these facets. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. John Whitaker.
Hello,
John, welcome, John. How are you?
That was a nice entrance. Thank you.
Oh, of course.
Nice build up.
What's that?
No, it's a lovely build up. Thank you.
Oh, of course.
I feel like something special now.
Oh, you are, John. No, thank you for being here, John. How's everything out in London today? How's the London fog treating you today?
Well, we had sun today, sun and blue sky. That's a good thing.
Nice. That's funny because I'm here in Southern California and we have nothing but where I'm at. Greater Los Angeles area. We're gray skies, so we switched today.
We've switched. Well, it's a funny old year, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, hey John, I'm excited to have you here. You've done so much work that I would just die to be a part of. You've done music. You're a musician, uh, music producer, filmmaker. You've shot videos. You've done so much that I admire, and I've always been a huge fan of the arts, John. Uh, right off the bat, John, typically what I'd like to do, John, is I do like a chronological approach where I interview the guest and we kind of start from his or her past and we build it up, going, in chronological order. But you know what? I want to get right to. I'm going to kind of break that mold a little bit here with you because I'm so curious about Hammer Blows. And that is such an interesting video. The music is amazing. It just grabbed me. That one grabbed me, John. So talk to us a little bit about Hammer Blows. When did you do this project? What was the inspiration for it?
Right. There is a story. So well done on picking on that. For several years, one of my full-time jobs, it was a very negative job. The job itself was straightforward, very easy. But some people have classified the environment as toxic. I worked there for 8.5 years. I worked night shift. And I don't know, one particular morning, I come home and I was just full of negativity. I just had enough.
Uh-huh.
It was just, I should have just gone to bed, but I didn't. This is quite interesting because in theory, the negative become positive because literally speaking, I come home, I started composing Hammer Blows because of that negativity.
Composing what? I'm sorry.
Sorry?
You started composing. What was that?
Hammer Blows.
Okay.
That very morning, I'd come home from work.
Gotcha.
Most negative of nights. Should have gone to bed, but didn't. I just had this stuff to get out of me. So it's quite interesting you saying that because in some ways I don't think I've ever bettered the track, and I know it got picked up a lot, and I know the video did well. Experienced such a negative night as that either.
So I can see. All right. So because Hammer Blows, man, it's aggressive, right? It's an aggressive song. I gather from what so it makes sense that you came home, you were upset. It sounds like you were things were just was it kind of a bad day that you had or something on your mind, something you were going through?
Well, it was work. It was just I was treated. It was the after effect of that. Some mornings I'd be driving home and they'd be phoning me, and it's like I've left all instructions. You don't need to phone me. When I finish work, but it followed you.
I see.
Yeah. So I just went home and got rid of all this energy, this negative energy.
Oh.
It wasn't like the whole track got finished that day, but it certainly got started, and it was the reason why. But the moment I heard it, I just knew it had something, and it probably took a good week or two to complete, and the video was a lot further down the line as well. It was still another 3 to 6 months before the video happened.
And who directed the video, John?
Well, you've probably heard of him before talking to M.W. Daniels, but Nikolai Kornum.
Nick.
Yeah. There's a whole back catalogue here. I said the chronological order of things, but I ended up being in a few of Martin's films, and that's when I was introduced to Nikolai. So I'd probably done about 3, 4, something like that. And then, of course, I had this Hammer Blows track, and I just thought it'd be great to have a video. So I approached Nick, and to be quite frank and honest, the only input on that particular occasion with that video, all I saw was a man with a big hammer.
Yeah.
But Nick had more visions. and that was a good 80-90% Nick and 10 to 20% me.
Wow. Yeah. Nick has done. I would love to look him up
We'll do so.
in more depth. Yeah, in more depth because, like you said, MW Daniels has. And shout out to MW Martin. How you doing out there, MW?
I'll see mine tomorrow.
You're gonna see him tomorrow. Oh, tell him I said hi. Yeah, he was on here, as you know, a few weeks back.
He knows. And I'm doing another drumming session with him tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Give him my best. Give him my best.
No, I will.
But yeah, Nikolai, he's done a lot of profound work. He's right from what I gather from yourself and from MW. He's out of different country, right? From you guys,
Denmark, I believe. Yeah,
Denmark. Yeah. But so you guys collaborated on that one, John, and like you said, Nikolai had more of a vision of what for the video.
That's correct.
Right?
I brought the hammers, and he brought the lights.
Oh yeah, no, I really like how the song builds up, and as it goes along, it just it gets more intense. And when I just generally speaking, when I listen to your music, John, please correct me if I'm wrong. I know you like the electronic genre. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Depeche Mode. I don't know if that would be correct. If there any kind of influence?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was 15. I was working in a Saturday job as a busher. Well, not the fully fledged thing, but serving the customers in the bushers. And I remember getting an album. It was called the Hit Squad or something, and it was one of them greatest hits or something. And the whole, it was Kajagoogoo there, Depeche Mode,
Kajagoogoo,
Culture Club, all these kind of people. And I remember playing this tape in my dad's car. And the moment he said, "Oh, who's this? What are you listening to Depeche Mode for?" I was at that age where you're rebellious. And because my dad had mentioned Depeche Mode and it sounded like he was irritated by that, I thought, I'm gonna like this group. and the following week, I went and bought Construction Time again. So that was their third album at the time, their latest release as such, and that was it. Yeah, it stuck. I've seen them about 7 or 8 times. Over there. Still there. I'm still following them.
Yeah. Oh, they're obviously amazing, right? And so yeah, when I listen to your music, it reminds me a lot of Depeche Mode and stuff like that. So going back to when you were 13, 14 years old, I think you mentioned prior to the show that that's when you discovered your love for music. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. My mum was always singing in the kitchen, always. She was listening to Radio 2 and all the things by the Beatles, Cilla Black, these kind of people. She'd always be singing along. But my dad, on the other hand, he was into the Tornadoes, Jean-Michel Jarre, and Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. So there was all that weird, interesting music from my dad's side, and all that very straightforward, eclectic music from my mum's side. So yeah, I just grew up with it. I wasn't involved though.
You weren't what? I'm sorry?
No, I wasn't involved in making music or even thinking of making music. At school, I was on the trombone, trumpet, and some drums. But that was through orchestra, that kind of thing. Art, funny enough, like drawing, freehand, that kind of thing. Okay. That was the thing I was into at school. Soon after school, I ended up doing a lot of writing. I've written 3 books actually, and some poetry. That was through my 20s to the 30s.
Wow, interesting. Right? So you wrote 3 books, you said?
They're not published though.
not yet. Not
in my loft or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, but so your first love sounded like it was drawing or painting, sketching.
Mainly drawing, but painting obviously when I was at school. I just didn't like the mess of painting. You're always getting your hands dirty, But
Uh-huh.
pencil drawing, pen and ink, even color work, that was, and it was always enlarging things. Can't explain it. I'd have a comic, typical A4 size, say, American letter. I'm trying to think. You do quarto, don't you? Um, but sort of that size. But I would boost it up 2 times the size, just with my eyes, just to make a poster or something. Got no explanation why I'd do it.
Wow. Yeah.
When I'm here now, I look back and I don't know why I did it.
So you mentioned you in the trombone. I also played the trombone in 5th and 6th
Right.
grade. That's one regret I have, John. I wish I had continued playing the trombone. But I was more into sports. I grew up as an athlete. But looking back now, I wish I had never quit. But hey, I was a young kid,
Not too late. Not too late. You get back.
Yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. It's not too late.
You said you like being inspired, so
yeah,
you're holding yourself back.
Yeah, absolutely. So you started playing the trombone and trumpet. Were those the first 2 instruments that you started playing?
Yeah. Because at school traditionally, it was always classical music being played and just typical orchestra stuff. So it was learning music, and reading and writing it. But as you probably also know, it's a bit boring when you're following traditional stuff. And if you look back at the music you're saying that you like me composing today, that isn't that structure at all. That's you just being allowed to do what you want.
Yeah.
I know. Your own compositions.
I hear you. So where did you go from there, John? You started playing the trombone, the trumpet, and then how did things begin to? What's that?
Yeah, it all fizzled out. I just went to work.
Oh,
my dad wanted me to go to work, earn money. It was the important thing. And then I'm doing 15-hour days, long commutes, having about 2 hours sleep. It's ridiculous. And so you get lost.
No, I understand.
Music didn't come back until 2015, really. And
really?
It was 40 something.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I had the impression that you, had been doing this all along, since you're,
I so wanted to do it. I was like you. I wanted to do it, had equipment, had instruments. They just sat there gathering dust.
Wow.
But we go to 2013, I started putting on weight. And I thought I need to do something about this. Up until that point, I was one of them people with metabolism and could burn the fat off. It was fine. But then suddenly I started relaxing a bit more, less anxious, started to put weight on. And I thought, hang on, I've got to do something here. So I took up cycling, like a nutter. A typical, lycra and all that kind of thing. But within 8 to 10 weeks, I'd burnt a lot of the fat off and I was looking really good. But I kept on going for a good 2 years, doing a couple of tours and stuff like that. And then I had a heart problem as a result of it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to stop cycling. But I'd made so much time to do cycling. I thought, what am I going to do with this extra time then? And that's when the music came in.
Interesting. So you've only been back at it for 5 years. The last 5 years.
Yeah.
So I can imagine you based on everything. So everything you've done on your YouTube channel, is all been done in the last 5 years.
Yes.
Wow. So you've been busy, huh?
It
seems like
it's an odd thing, but it's almost like playing catch up. The music that was coming out of me once it started just couldn't stop. If I finished an album, I was restless straight away, and then starting on another one.
Oh.
It was almost like just something flowing into you and saying I don't know, it just took over my life. It hasn't. I sit in this room. There's a family out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Serious.
Right.
But I would cut off, disconnect because I'm just so busy.
That's interesting, John. We're kind of in the same. We got a parallel here because, I decided to go back and start doing, you know, creativity later on in life, and wow, I have a family too. I have a full-time job, and since I started it, like you said, it's just things just started evolving and going and going. The momentum started building, and things are moving along, and it's been a fun journey. It's been a fun journey, But that's interesting though. Everything that you've done, John. I mean, you've done some really cool stuff.
Realizing that you don't have to live that life. We do because we all need to earn money, but that sometimes does take us away from the things we're perhaps good at or the things we are enjoying. And that's kind of unfair, because that means your whole life is dedicated to something else that you may have a talent for. The thing is, there's no money in music today either. But what I've recognised, as long as you enjoy doing what you're doing, forget about the rest.
Absolutely.
Do it for you. So everything I do today, I do it for myself first, and then it's always nice to see what happens once it gets released, and see how that affects people. If they like it, if they don't like it,
I love that perspective, John. You do it for yourself because you enjoy doing it from the heart.
You beat the system that way.
You beat this, yeah.
You do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you never know. Maybe you have a slim chance of breaking into doing what you want to do. Remember, the things I do in film now, they're expanding. More people will get to notice things there. So there's a difference between doing something or not doing something. So I'd rather be doing something.
Oh, no doubt, John. If I can make a living doing this, John, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. And that's my goal. Honestly, I would love to make a living doing this. So, and I've done some acting, John. I've been in the world, in that entertainment arena. So, which is another reason, going again, getting back into it because I love to do it and I missed it. And I'd rather say, I'd rather look back at my life and say, I wish at least I tried, at least I tried and I gave it a sincere effort rather than, I wish I had, gosh, imagine what would have happened, I don't want to live like that,
Yeah. I mean, we seem to live in this world of money.
Yeah.
Everything. But the one fundamental thing that's more important than anything else is time. The biggest commodity we've got. It's the only commodity we've got.
That's
it's running out all the time. So for every day that ticks by, that's another day gone.
Yeah. You never get it back.
You never get it back. And remember, you can have all the money in the world, but when you die, that doesn't matter about your money anymore. Your time was more important. Always. I've had millionaire. I did a little chauffeur job back in 2006, and I had a millionaire in the back of the car, and he broke down and cried because at the time when I was doing that chauffeuring job, I was doing 4 days on, 4 days off, and I was explaining to him I was doing that job because I wanted to be with my family, see my children grow up, and he cried in the back of the car because in his strive to get his millions. He put his family second, and he never saw his children grow up.
Yeah, that's tough. Wow. Yeah, no, I hear you, John. I can't even imagine that. Being not seeing my kids grow up. That's a huge priority in my life. But you hear those stories. Money doesn't bring happiness. Money does. You can't buy happiness. And. That's a good example. Poor guy misses his kids.
People with money already say that money is not buying them happiness, because even when they've got millions, they still haven't got enough. Now, to you and me, we'd say, "Hey, you know what? This is it." But these people don't stop; they're relentless, and that's kind of worrying, because you actually start to think money is obviously addictive, and it isn't about the money anymore. But to someone who hasn't got it, £5 or $5 is worth a lot.
No doubt.
So obviously, once people have broken this realm, they don't know how to manage money. And of course, you probably know yourself, then money is controlling us all because these people are very powerful, and then they've got the control, but they
Yeah.
don't know how to control themselves.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle,
Mm.
It's a vicious cycle. Yeah, John. No, I hear you. I hear you. So going back to 2015,
Mm.
right? So you're putting your instruments away, and you have this realization as to, I need to do something here. In that moment, John, so what did you do? What was the first step you took after when you
What
decided,
happened?
well, I'm going to pursue something? What happened there?
I literally did this cycle ride. I was getting prepared for the London Prudential 100. It was literally 2 or 3 days away, and I'd always go out before a big sort of 100-mile cycle. You got to. You can't just you know do a couple of miles and then do 100. Do 100. Uh,
No.
so I had this hill, and I really wanted to attack it, and I did, and I get some good times. But I
Uh-huh.
come home, had to have a shower, and whilst I've been in the shower, I thought I was going to die.
Why is that?
Serious, because of this heart thing. I'd never experienced anything like it in my life, and my family had gone away on holiday the day before, and suddenly I imagined myself dying in that shower with the waters cascading down, just being that was it. So my priority at that moment was to jump out the shower, get dry, get dressed, and at least die with dignity.
Wow.
Serious. And of
Really?
course, in all this going on, I didn't die, of course, but I knew there was something wrong. With no one at home, not wanting to pester people, and knowing I had to go to work that night, I still went to work, even though I had this heart thing. When I got to work, they took me to hospital, and then the hospital
Wow.
admitted me. Yeah.
That's
So probably now I'm having angiograms and all sorts of things. Got
uh
diagnosed with something called myocarditis, uh, and the whole experience just said you've got to leave a legacy for your children because you could literally die any day, and
mm,
that was it. That was the moment.
wow. Yeah. That's I know you're right, John. You just never
No,
you never know, man. It's
we
yeah.
take tomorrow for granted.
Hmm.
Tomorrow may never come. Serious. You may wake up today, and this. I don't want to speak doom and gloom, but this could
No,
be your last day. But if you live like that, you're going to do. Does that make sense?
oh yeah, no, absolutely. John, just just to give you an example, you hear about things happening, you just never know, and yeah. Speaking of this particular subject, living life to the fullest every day, because you just never know. I had this little experience a couple months ago. Went to the river. I think I told Martin about this too on his when he came on here. There was a little floaty. My daughter's floaty floated away into the water, into the river, and the Colorado River. You may have heard of it.
Yeah,
It's a very
yeah.
big river here on the West Coast in the United States. Um, I saw my wife goes, "Hey, can you go get the floaty?" So I'm swimming out there about 100 yards, and this floaty keeps going away, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't. It keeps drifting and drifting. I can't seem to reach it. So at this point, I'm out into the river. I'm out a good 100 yards now, and I'm starting to get winded. And so now I'm starting to realize, okay, now once I get this floaty, it's a little $5 floaty. Is it going to hold me up? I'm pretty heavy. I'm a pretty big guy. And so I start realizing, wow, okay, so all these things are going through my head. Now I got the current going. There's boats driving. So I start to kind of, panic a little bit because I'm getting tired. So I start shouting for help. Good thing the guys next to us had a jet ski. They came out and he was on it right away. And I grabbed the jet ski and I was able to grab my breath, catch my breath. But point is that, you hear about stuff like that, have people drowning, and you just never know, and that was just a little simple thing. All I did is go out into the water and grab my daughter's floaty. And so, yeah, you really moments like that, you realize, gosh, it could just all end so abruptly.
I've heard of the story of someone just falling over in the kitchen and hitting their head, and that's it.
Yeah. But
And
yeah, John. No, that's great. So you decided, hey, I want to leave a legacy, and that was the moment of inspiration for yourself. And
that's
then,
when it started. But I never knew it was going to turn out like it has. So it just goes to show, from my perspective, fate and destiny does exist in some ways.
yeah, and you look, imagine, John, if you had never even, go back 5 years and you had never had that moment.
This will be, yeah.
What's that? What's that?
Yeah. This will probably the whole one eyes to see thing, the videos, everything would not exist.
Yeah.
I'd be still cycling.
Right. We wouldn't be talking. We wouldn't be having this conversation. Right. You would have never met Martin probably. Hammer Bros.
Yeah, you're right, because mine saw a crazy video I did. Because we were obviously working. I don't know if you know this, but we were working at the same company.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
His music and all sorts of things, but he never talked about the films. But I started a YouTube channel and posted some really odd video I did with my daughter, and he saw it and he never seen anything like it.
Which one was that?
No, it's not there anymore. It's removed.
Oh,
because even I'm embarrassed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wants to see it again, but I'm not sure. I have to get brave. But he didn't know I was that way inclined, and he saw me, and he thought, "Do you want to be in one of my films?" So that was that link.
So he actually saw you. Had never met Martin prior to that.
We'd met in work.
Okay, work. That's right.
Music and stuff. Yeah,
you guys worked together.
But we filmed together.
Oh,
until I posted that crazy video.
Now, were you aware that he was doing, filmmaking and stuff like that?
No.
That's wow. So that's how that collaboration came about. He saw that video and yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And what so what was the first thing that you did, John, after you had that moment? You did that video with I think you said with your daughter.
The Hammer Blows, yeah.
Okay, Hammer Blows.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Hammer Blows is with my daughter as well. Yes, I forgot about that. But no, this other crazy video. Yeah, my daughter videoed it. She was turning the phone round and round, and I was pulling all sorts of different faces and looking like I was falling in my car. I don't know, all sorts of crazy stuff. He saw that video and thought, "Hang on, this guy might have something." He obviously it kind of. A lot of people aren't liberated, I don't think, in life. I think a lot of people suppress themselves, hold themselves back. But I'm quite happy to just do things.
Yeah, you kind of, that's a great point, John. Including myself included. I even now when doing this podcast, there's moments where I kind of suppress, the, where I kind of want to open up more, and kind of take a leap, more of a leap and something. But I'm trying to get to that point where don't hold back.
I'm going to help you tonight.
All right. No, you're definitely inspired me, John. Absolutely, everything that you've done. So you start collaborating with MW. And then, so what happened next? What was the kind of how did things start evolving from there?
Well, I mean, as a sort of going back slightly, when I decided I was going to start doing music, I just did one track, and it was called The Tomb, and it's on my first album called The Great Distraction. Once it was complete, I thought it sounds like a proper track and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought I need to test the water. And I took this track to work, and there was another work colleague, and I let him listen to it. and he just loved it. And I didn't think he would, but he did. And well, truth of the matter is, he asked if he could listen to it again, and then again. And I thought, no, this is mad. But I thought at that point, similarly, there must be something in what I'm doing for someone to react like that. I made a crazy little video using my mobile iPhone on a train. Yeah, well, I was making probably traveling to London or something, and I made a video of this tomb thing, and that was the first video that went up online as well. But he kept playing it at work, and then he was playing it to all the other work colleagues. So I would hear about everyone listening to it, and then I was kind of getting a little bit embarrassed.
Yeah, I hear you. I know what you're talking about.
But that was it. That was the sort of beginning. But he really inspired me to keep making more tracks. He said you must be able to make an album. I'm thinking, how did I make a track? But anyway, I did. I thought, let's move forward. And you've just sparked something off here. Because I'm thinking back to the next track I did. And this track called The Tomb, my daughter named it. I never understood why, but sometime later I asked her, why did you call it The Tomb? And she said, because you got a book on my shelf called The Tomb. And I thought, that's so sad in a way. But I thought, if I go forward with tracks, maybe I should come up with a name before I do the track. Now, I'm not a religious person, though where I am today, I'm very spiritual, I suppose.
Yeah.
Life changes you. But I thought, growing up, my parents allowed me to think if I wanted to be religious or not, if that made sense. But there was a sort of idea in my head. So I thought the most challenging thing to do would perhaps make an audio tune about God. Now, I mean, it seemed really strange, but that's what I fixated on. And so subsequently, that was the birth of the track God on The Great Distraction. But it has that almighty kind of feel that you'd expect God to feel. And then I realized possibly this is my angle. Actually, to create sounds of the adjective or the word, the name. To test the water further, the next track was lobotomy. I thought the same way. I thought, can I make a visual mental image audible? And I don't know if you've seen the video or heard the track.
Lobotomy?
Yeah. My daughter can't listen to it. She has the vision in her head, and it scares her. So she can't listen to it, even now.
Wow.
Which isn't a good thing when you're trying to attract people to listen to music, to actually put them off. But there are some people who like that kind of thing too. But that sort of explains the birth of what my idea of making tracks was all about, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's, and you mentioned, John, on you told me before in pre-production, when you sent over the notes and stuff, that you prefer just music without vocals, because vocalists or lead singers, they might tend to lead the listener down another path, that they want to lead you down, whereas it's just that we're an instrumental, the listener has options, right? And I thought that was really profound, because I thought, yeah, no, that's absolutely right, so you prefer just instrumental over vocals.
I think what I call it is kind of mind music. Now, some of it can be aggressive, and of course that will maybe create road rage, which you don't want to be doing. But I have done some mellow tunes too, but the dark side actually seems to emanate and seems to be the better hold. And obviously it works for the Prodigy, worked for Depeche Mode, and such like. But both of them two artists are two inspirations to me. And I should add that Tangerine Dream and Roixop too. If you can imagine a kind of culmination of all of them, they've had a sort of massive effect on me. Because Tangerine Dream is always my music. It's always taking you like floating off somewhere.
Yeah.
But I like my beats too much.
You what?
I like my beats too much. So Tangerine Dream don't usually have the aggressive and beaty type thing, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. And you mentioned Prodigy. That's another one. Yeah, that's I forgot about them. To mention them. So yeah, they're very, very profound artists to be influenced by. So going back to the Tomb, John. Now, which instruments are you playing in the Tomb?
There's synthesizers.
Okay.
And then I'm using Logic Pro. So I'm as a producer, I have to add additions and things. But the weirdest thing about the Tomb, it's the only track I've ever worked on that I've never had to tweak or modify at all.
Really?
It just sort of evolved. And it's got a weird sort of alien sound to it as well. But that's why I like doing as well, though, dabbling and changing sounds. And today with computers you could do this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I was talking to Ulrich Schnautz in an interview, 2018, 2019, and he said the thing is today we've reached the stage where we can actually do anything.
We've reached the stage. What?
Yeah, we can do anything in music. There's literally such an abundance of sound noise. And in theory, trying to make a new breakthrough going forward is going to be very, very difficult.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great point. There's so much you can do now because of technology, right? And
yeah,
it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, are you still playing the trumpet and trombone in any of your work?
No.
No. Oh no.
Oh, but on my latest album, Voices in My Head, I did sing 2 or 3 tracks. I did actually do vocals.
Oh wow! Really?
Yeah. Someone said I sounded like the guy in Metallica.
Wow! No way.
Not a lovely compliment. And sort of hints that are kind of moving more into rock almost there.
Wow! Well, that's incredible. And so you started, with after you did the Tomb, and then Hammer Blows. And when did you start doing the acting stuff?
Well, Hammer Blows a little bit because I'm 3 characters in that.
True.
I don't know if you know that, but the mummy one and the thing with the wig with the hockey mask.
Yeah.
And the hat. They're all me.
That's all you. Oh,
I don't think so, but they are.
That's amazing.
But the next video I shot was Umbilicaled.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Umbilicaled.
Oh, Umbilicaled. Okay.
Yeah, that was where I worked with M.W. Daniels and Nikolai, and introduced my friend Richard, another school friend Ian Walls, and 1 or 2 others, and just asked Emma Dark as well if she'd be interested. Though she wasn't the original lead, the lead I had for Undertaker, which was the follow-up video, was the original lead. When Emma came on board, she didn't want to play someone in the background. She wanted the lead role.
Oh,
it's a really tough thing because the other girl, Victoria, she had this job, and then I had to tell her, "Sorry, I've got someone else," and she was so nice about it, but I felt so guilty, and that's why she was used for Undertaker.
Oh, I see.
So she got the lead role. She did get the lead role in the next film.
I see. Now, and umbilical in the video, are you the guy with the long hair and the hat?
I'm the guy with the top hat and the long black the long black coat,
Okay.
and the shovel as I'm digging
Oh.
up corpses and hanging out. Oh no, sorry, I'm going to the Undertaker. What am I talking about? It just goes to show I'm all getting blurred. Sorry, in umbilical, yes, I am the guy with the top hat, the beard.
Yes.
I remember chemicals. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
the test tubes and stuff.
And the lady pushing the baby carriage, that's
Uh,
she wasn't supposed to play the lead role originally.
no, sorry, that was Emma. Who,
Oh, it's
she
Emma.
did was supposed to play that lead role,
Okay.
but she sorry, she was replaced. She replaced the woman who turned to be in the Undertaker video. It's me confusing everything now. Sorry about this.
No, 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 no. I just trying to sort it out. But so you mainly you do a lot of acting in you appear in your videos. It sounds like and
Probably noticed in some of my videos I'm quite chameleon-like. I don't
uh-huh.
look the same.
Yeah.
I purposely did that. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's like when you're asking me about the beard and the top hat. That's what I did in Umbilical. Undertaker, sorry, was the guy digging up the graves. Then I did Zombie the following year, and then I've taken my glasses off, had a shave, put some makeup on, and looked like a zombie.
Wow. And that's a zombie. Is that that's the short horror film, right? Zombie.
That's another short one. Yeah,
Mm,
I
yeah.
don't know if you've seen that at all, but the lady who shot it, she just had this vision, and I just let her run with it.
Wow.
But I knew if I was going to be in it,
Hmm.
um, I'd have to be another character as per usual.
Well, and so what do you enjoy most, though, John? Is it the acting? Is it the producing the music? Is it the shooting the videos? Or what is it that you most? I mean, I know you enjoy it all, but do you have a particular
I think I to
thing
be
that you like?
I have to say it's still the music
Still the music,
because
huh?
it's I'm in control of that more,
Mm,
but it's even when I'm composing, I don't know what's coming sometimes. Whereas if I'm making a film or acting a film, I know about it.
yeah,
The music has I don't know lots of different things, but maybe I can't just physically explain it. But when it comes to the film side of things, I like shooting and editing now. I'm much more happy on this side of the camera than
really.
people do that. You know,
Uh-huh.
I can still do it, and I know I've sent you a couple of links recently
Mhm.
where you've seen probably the priest video thing, and that was me demoing. I wanted to see what it was like to set up 4 cameras, have one guy in the middle, and just see what happened when it just run.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was an experiment. Yeah.
And so talk a little bit about The Last Confession. When did you shoot this?
Well, this was shot recently within the last month.
Oh my gosh,
At
that
another MW Productions type thing.
uh
I know it's me, but we're all working together on yet another anthology.
huh.
So the Last Confession is my anthology. Sorry, my film within that anthology. But I've obviously finished mine and it's all ready to go, sort of thing. And in fact, it's actually been selected to be shown in a film festival next month.
Oh wow, is that right? Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean,
Which, which
it's
film festival?
it's called Fear in the Fens.
And that's in England, UK.
It's in sort of Norfolk, Suffolk, that neck of the woods.
Okay.
The Fens is a very flat part of the land. In fact, once upon a time, they said this, if the sea come across the land, there's a place called Peterborough, about 50 miles north of me, and that would be a coastal town. But in theory, where it is at the moment, it's about 100 miles away from the sea. But that's because of the flat, you know.
Uh, right.
You can
Right.
imagine everything going underwater there.
Wow. Yeah.
And England is a small country.
Mhm. Yeah, no, my by the way, my wife's family is from London. Her grandmother, she still has cousins out in London. Does the name John Ross ring a bell for you?
No, I'm afraid not.
I'm just throwing it out there. He's a photographer.
Mm.
He's worked with some big time performers, artists, and stuff. Anyways, but yeah, no, I a little familiar. I haven't been there. I'd love to go one day, visit London. Um, but he lives on the Thames River there, and that along the Thames River,
Yeah, yeah.
which is pretty cool. But so the last
You don't want
confession.
to swim in it, though. You don't want to swim in it.
No, no.
No, it's very dangerous.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, no, I don't want to be in another river like the Colorado.
Well,
I'm scared of rivers now.
No, they've still got rats in London, and it's something to do with the rats being around the water. It's just it's polluted. It's really not a good river to swim in.
Oh, but people they'll take a boat across it, right?
Yeah, go on a boat, but whatever you do, don't swim.
Don't swim in it.
No, don't swim in the Thames.
I'll remember that one. I remember that. But so going back to the last confession, John, so that was directed by NW, or did you direct that?
No, it was me. I did the whole thing.
You directed, you performed in it.
I directed, filmed, acted, the whole thing. Yeah.
Gosh, unbelievable.
But the whole reason for that was because of Nikolai with the isolation horrors.
Okay.
He really threw that kind of thing into the hat into the ring when he was asking us all to film on our phones and do something. I had always wanted to see if it was possible to film and act in something, and of course that's exactly what I did with my anomalous film in the isolation horrors.
Wow. Well, I can't believe how recent that's been. I was shot. The last confession, and it looks like you threw on a little some type of hairpiece right for that, and yeah, no, I enjoyed that. That was
priest collar.
Yeah, and you got the priest, the priest collar and the whole thing there. And
once I'm deciding I'm going to go into do something, I usually go fully into it. I become that person. You probably noticed I had a different voice as well.
Yeah,
very theatrical, booming voice.
It's very inspirational, John. Man, I love it. I love it. You're making me just you're motivating me here as we sit and speak.
Good.
By the
time this finish, I want to see you making a film.
Yeah. No, I told MW, I go, I would love to audition for one of your films, and he told me come out to London. If you can get yourself out to London, we'll see what we can do. And I go, hey, I'm going to hold you to that, and we were kind of laughing, but yeah, that's great, John. That's amazing. So how the acting, as far as acting though, again, that was something that you just said, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to just jump in and delve into it and see what happens.
I understand that I've got a granddad that I never met who's very, very eccentric. And there's part of me that probably thinks, you know what, I understand that personality. And that's coming back to earlier part of the conversation where we were talking about being liberated. A lot of people are very self-conscious, or they don't want to look bad ever, or funny.
Right.
But if you can dispel all that, and whatever you look like, you can just go with, then you've broken a barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people hold themselves back. It was just, it's like what you're saying. There'll be people going to acting schools, and then they'll be waiting for a job, but they don't seem to think, hang on, why don't I just do something? Why don't I do it myself? Why am I waiting for someone else? Why am I auditioning for someone else? Why don't I just do this?
Oh, man.
And my friend Richard, which you've probably seen in a number of my videos, because he's in Umbilical, he's in Undertaker, he's in Zombie. There's only two of us. He plays a wonderful role in Better Nails. I don't know if you've seen that one, but he plays Punch this hideous Punch character who's running around, I don't know, tying a woman up, just like banging nails into the bed.
Did you say Punch, John?
Yeah, like Punch and Judy. He's playing like a large adult-sized Punch,
Okay.
but he also ends up being in having a part in the Isolation Horrors too.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
he said to me, all this stuff's just inspired him. And so subsequently, he made a film called Carrigan's Wake last year. Sorry, Carrigan Wakes last year. And then he asked me if I could score the film. And of course, I was happy to do that.
Wow. Yeah. You guys are doing some amazing stuff.
So it was exactly what you said. It was I didn't know I was inspiring him, but I was. But then because he got inspired, he did a film and then he came back and he wanted a soundtrack.
Wow.
So everything could become self-fueled.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to support your friends too.
Of course. No, yeah, that's because it's going to come back to you, and what's wrong? Yeah, you help each other out, help each other grow, and you support each other, and it's because you're both in the same boat. You're both artists. You're both trying to maximize the creativity, and but yeah, John, you mentioned right, you mentioned something about holding back, going back to what we said, earlier, and now when you have you found through this whole process, John, I can imagine the growth you've experienced as a person, right, as a human being, right? Do you feel like have you experienced? Have you had? Can you talk about any other kind of self revelations about yourself or growth as a person, as a human being that you've experienced recently in the last 5 years?
Oh, certainly. What I've noticed, this is going to make a lot of people laugh who watch this podcast, and it may offend others. But what I've noticed, the music community is lovely, and people work for peanuts and do some amazing work, and everyone's supporting themselves out. When I crossed over a little bit within the film world, it's a totally different thing. It can be very pretentious, people slapping themselves on the back, slapping each other on the back, and it's kind of a bit incestual. It's something that you realize it's not, half the things you're doing are not quite as big as you think. Now, it might, to me, maybe I'm just a bit more grounded because I'm 50 odd now doing this. Whereas a 20-year-old coming to something, maybe it is a lot bigger, I'm not sure. But when you've lived a life and could be grounded, you're not going to see that kind of side of things. But I've always wanted to be grounded. I've always wanted to be the same. I don't look up to people and I don't look down to people. Everyone is equal, in my opinion. And I don't ever want to change that. So I'm yeah, when you, I mean, as I say, maybe the spiritual side of things has become more. I'm much more aware of nature these days.
Yeah.
You've probably seen via Instagram of me taking all these pictures of clouds and things.
Yeah.
I'm just inspired by everything natural, things that are free.
No, absolutely. You go outside, John, and nature is so much. Just taking a walk outside. You appreciate the trees, the leaves, grass, just the colors, the sky, the clouds. Those little. Yeah, I totally get it, John. I totally get it. And the older I get, the more I start to appreciate those things as well. You start to notice those little things in in general, going outside or the outdoors, nature for sure. So this I mean, this has been quite a ride for you, John. It seems like, man. I mean, what's next for you? What are your goals here in the next 5 years?
Well, it's not. It's not stopping. It's keep rolling. I'm
Yeah.
already on 2 studio albums and another soundtrack album. And as I presented to you, I am in this anthology film, but I'm also working with Richard in a new collaboration on a new film.
Wow.
And this time it's a 20, 25, maybe even 30 minute, because I'm halfway in it at the moment, and it's 17 minutes, and it hasn't even kicked off really.
Wow.
So I think it's going to be a lot longer than usual.
Uh-huh.
But for me, it's my first proper film. But it's great to collaborate with Richard.
Absolutely. No, and I can imagine you're going to continue to collaborate with Nikolai and MW and all the actors you've worked with already thus far. You know,
I think
you guys.
we're all sort of there is like a little family there because we have cross pollinated, and we've had different actors in some films that have now met some of the other directors, and there's a lot of switching around. But if you're making films, you can't keep having the same actors in every film you make because that will sort of look a little boring unless they're all like John Mills or Laurence Olivier or something like that. Christian Bale, bringing up to speed, different actors that can do that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm going to be continue to I'm going to continue to keep tabs on your career, John, and we'll see where you go. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm excited to see where that's going to go. So, what advice would you have for someone who wants to break in, or they want to be creative, they want to start, creating filmmaking, specifically filmmaking. What would you tell someone who wanted to kind of what steps should they take to initiate the process?
Obviously, to start with, having a device that can film. But today we've got mobile phones, and they are very good. They've got good quality. The thing they won't have is stabilization. Some people are interested in, gimbals. I use gimbals, but everything's smooth and steady. There is room for that, but of course you can also buy yourself tripods. To get your mobile phone on and static. Video software is obviously important, but if you can't afford the top end, obviously look at cheaper alternatives. I think you can get information on YouTube. Certainly, don't be scared by nothing. Just do it. Storyboarding. Come up with an idea, hopefully fresh, something different. It can be tough. It almost feels like if you look at a lot of films, there's always something that replicates or seems very similar to something else. Mm-hmm. But if you add your touch to it, there's a good chance, of it getting seen in a different light. Like you said earlier, setting yourself targets, saying you're going to do it by the end of the month or the end of next month, and then deciding how long you're going to do it for. There's nothing dictating how long the film should be. It could be 30 seconds. The smart thing could be how do you make a challenging film in 30 seconds?
Yeah.
You imagine condensing a film down enough to have a start, middle, and end in 30 seconds. But that's a good challenge.
Oh, no doubt.
So that's a good start. What else? Definitely, if you can have actors, make sure they're half decent. You need it. I mean, a lot of people grow. A lot of the time we'll have people who've never been in a film, but you'll know yourself. How many people want to be in a film? Loads of people want to be in a film. People love it.
Yeah.
But has everyone got the talent? Sometimes not. But that's still, no one should be off put by that because there's always something that someone could do. So if they don't think they're great acting, and certainly vocally or learning the lines, do something in the background, like an extra, but you're still there, and then you're watching the others doing their thing, because that again inspires even the people in the back, because they're like, I want to be there. So then get the competition going and let that person grow. But then there's two people now vying for this position.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to elaborate too much of the film I've just shot, but there's a scene between two characters, and I can quite rightly tell you they're both vying for lead by putting the other one down. And it was meant to be. I mean, I had this kind of idea. Richard had this idea, and we went with it, and I think it worked. It's I wouldn't say this particular film is a horror film as such, but it's maybe a dark comedy thriller. The comedy is not meant to be, but I've always found if you add a little bit of comedy to something, it makes it more real. If you're trying to be serious, too serious, just doesn't come across sometimes. But if the comedy is too much, it falls apart too. It's a balance. As long as when you get to film set as well, it's a day that everyone's going to enjoy. It's a day out. Food and drink, maybe a beer afterwards. Make the whole thing an experience. Ever since I've done work with Martin and myself, I've just carried that through. There's always beers afterwards. There's a social.
Yeah, he mentioned he likes to go out and grab a beer. Yeah, I enjoy that too. Just to go out and go sit somewhere, have a cold beer. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. And making it an experience. And John, how did you overcome? I don't know if maybe it was fear, but maybe that suppression you were talking about. What is it that you did to overcome, like holding back? If you ever had that issue, just what can someone do to just go for it? To break through that barrier of holding back and seeming, how we hold ourselves back as human beings. What's one thing that you did?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, no one wants to have a life-threatening or, sort of circumstance thinking they're going to die. But obviously I kind of was in that realm, and that does change you. It would change anyone. But it is nice to convey the fact, just have a brief moment of thinking, what if you die tomorrow, but you've left nothing, and you didn't do anything you wanted to do? So maybe that's the best piece of advice, in a way.
Yeah.
Because I had a little brief moment. I told you about the religion thing. I wondered if I was going to become a hypocrite. I wondered if I was going to have that flashback and think, I am dying. Now I've got to regret some of the things I've done in my life, or am I happy that everything's come together? Lots of things swimming in your head at that moment.
Wow. Yeah.
I should also point out, if it's okay, to talk back on the networking as well, and how that helps.
Oh, please, yes.
Yeah, coming down to 2016, I've done that album. I've put some music out. Great DJ. His name's Chris Watts. He runs a radio show on a Wednesday night. It's called In the Moog. He hasn't asked me to do this, by the way, but it's deserved. But he played a lot of my music in the early days, and Hammer Blows was put on the map because of him. He played Hammer Blows that night, and he had the editor of a magazine called Electronic Sound that night, listening in on the radio and being interviewed later. And somewhere in that conversation, he brought up Hammer Blows. And if Hammer Blows hadn't been played that night, it would never have been talked about. And then for 4 consecutive years, I had small reviews in the Electronic Sound magazine. And that was, lovely. Because then people do actually think that you're serious, that you're semi-professional at least. I mean, I've never aspired to being any of that. I mean, it's nice of you to credit me with all these titles earlier, but I don't really see myself as a filmmaker or a musician or these things. I just think I'm an ordinary guy just doing things.
Oh, you know what? when you said that, I don't know if you're familiar with the comedian Bernie Mac. Does that ring a bell for you?
I've heard the name. Yeah.
Bernie Mac. He's a African American guy. Rest in peace. Huge comedian out here. But he said that I'm just an ordinary guy with an extraordinary job. This is what he. I read that once, and I remember, that really struck a chord with me. He was, yeah, because we're all just human beings. We're all just people.
I'm very fortunate to, like I was talking to you earlier about doing some interviews. So I've been very fortunate to interview some artists that are well known. High five Grace Jones when she was topless, for God's sake. I mean, who could say
Really?
that? But that's true. But I've met Gary Newman, had a little chat with him. As I said, done some interviews with Tangerine Dream, some other maybe lesser known electronic artists in the country, but like Ian Boddy, Andy Pickford, David Wright. I'll drop names. I think they're important people.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, with me growing up, these are big names for me. So again, to interview them was lovely.
Yeah.
But they're all the same. They all want to be treated the same. They don't want to be put on the pedestals. So somehow the system or people put them there.
Mm.
But when you talk to them, they are normal.
To just, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, well, the media portrays a certain thing, and then people become fascinated with celebrity and the whole fame thing, and this whole thing. We create this. It's almost like an illusion, right? Like they're not even like as if they're not even human or something. They
Yeah,
live on.
superhumans. They're trying to make them. I mean, in a kind of way, I suppose it's how I view. I don't want to talk politics, but I suppose in a way, it's America has built some of the supervillains, from Marvel comics, but they've become real.
Yeah.
Had Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, Gaddafi, but it's almost they've replicated these kind of Doctor Evil or whatever. You know what I mean? You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just don't know if it is. Well, look, my first album was called The Great Distraction, and it was called that for a reason.
Mm.
So I think I had a hint right at the beginning that maybe I'd take a different approach into all of this and stay that way all the way through.
And so you mentioned a couple days ago, you told me that you were filming Flowers for the Dead.
Yes.
Right. Which is so what is, tell us a little bit about that. What is your role in Flowers for the Dead?
Well, I've helped write it. This is a collaboration with Richard.
Yes.
He's very good at wanting to suppress information, and I've got to respect him as it's a collaboration to not tell too much. So I'm going to resist, and I'm going to hold back a little bit with telling who's in it.
Okay.
He is in it. He does like spot. He does like a sport of acting. But I was behind the camera.
Okay.
I was directing. I've done a soundtrack to it, and as I say, I'm in the process of editing. But it's going very well.
And when is the estimated time for completion and release?
When I finish the edit, but could be next week. The edit could be finished.
Oh, okay.
Not as fast as Nick. Nick will shoot a film and edit the following day. It's done. Boom.
Wow.
10 or 15 minutes. He's superb.
Jeez.
But I've got to give him credit because I've always watched him at work. I like what he does. I've never asked him questions about what he does, but he certainly inspired me. And I've learned a lot from that guy.
Right. Nikolai?
He gave me a wonderful compliment last year when I did my Hangman 2 video.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it was about it, but I think it was a turning point to me too. I was starting to get slightly better at the filming, realizing I could do it myself.
Wow. That's amazing. Amazing, man. Yeah, John, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna continue to follow you. your career and what things are going to come your way, because what you've done so far is just astounding, just
Well, I
astounding.
mean, on this last album, I've just collaborated with two, three different singers and things. I never thought I was going to go down that route, but they're amazing people. And then they get what you're doing, then they have their own twist or spin.
Hmm.
And the group Ditsy Yellow, or Ditsy Yellow, they're amazing. They are like sheer rock. And them adding to my dynamic is making some really strong, powerful songs. Um, but again, I'm gonna pronounce her name wrong. I think she's called Irene or Irene or something.
Uh-huh.
I really apologise to her for getting it wrong. Um, but she's just done a wonderful vocal to a song that I've done called Woman in Black." It's
Mm.
just a sheer emotional song, and she's just added something almost Kate Bush esque to it. Unbelievable, and it's very, very emotional. Very, very proud of that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course, of course. Um, but John, before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you real quick. What was the gosh darn it? Oh, where your upcoming collaboration with Richard?
Mhm.
Uh, where do you typically release it onto YouTube? You
Oh
post it on YouTube, or how do you release it?
no,
How do you go about
you're making me laugh here
it?
because I've already mentioned his film Carrigan Wakes. He filmed last year. Now he still hasn't released that film anywhere. It's gone to a few festivals,
Hmm.
but it still hasn't been released. And I think up to this point, there's still two or three people who were in the film who still haven't seen it.
Oh wow.
Richard is adding a different dimension or element, if you like, to me. I am extremely impulsive, and that isn't always a good thing because that means it does go to YouTube within days. May or may not do anything, um, but perhaps there is an art in building tension and
Hmm.
promoting. And I think
True.
Richard's got a different approach for sure. And he's. I mean, I don't want to hold this film back for 5 years, going by
Yeah.
his what's going on at the moment. But I do think he can restrain my impulsiveness, and somewhere in there, there's going to be hopefully some kind of good balance.
Mm.
Because I'll probably still push to say, look, Richard, we've had this film for 2.5 years. You know what are we doing with it? Whereas he may say, all right then, but I don't know
Wow.
where it's going.
Yeah.
Um, there's something about it that could send it differently. You know, put it somewhere else.
Mm.
The thing is, it's like you were saying earlier. It's also growth. I think we're getting better at what we're doing, and I'm not saying YouTube cheapens it, but is it worth taking the extra steps to go just a little bit further and letting a different audience see it, perhaps?
No doubt. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
The
Well,
thing is,
yeah, man.
I'll end up staying away from the festivals because I've sort of a little bit done with the pretentiousness. I'll let
Oh,
Richard go. I think he likes that. I'll let him go for me.
oh, yeah. Maybe you never know. You might just get the itch and just go maybe with the experience. I guess you never know.
I've
The fruits of
also,
your labor.
Umbilical was shown in a film festival, a horror festival in London 2 years back. Very, very chuffed about that. Um, they gave an experience where your film was shown on a London cinema. Uh, and 9 months later, I got interviewed by Billy Chainsaw in front of an audience.
Oh.
Um, they are elevating experiences. Um, and the Billy Chainsaw interview, it was full of laughter. I changed everything around,
Mm.
made sure that the audience were laughing. That was the important thing, driving something positive, making people laugh, entertaining.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
but I don't want to sort of buy into something. I feel is just a little bit fake. I don't know if you've ever gone to a film festival. Um,
No.
we'll go to one. let's,
I'll try.
let's see what you think.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, John. It's not
I
not
want
you
to
really.
stay grounded. All I'm saying is I want to stay grounded, and I want to stay true. I want to be genuine, and I want to continue doing what I'm doing. And I don't expect anything back, but
Gotcha.
I will, like I've done earlier, thank the people who have done some wonderful support and helped me at the same time because they've had no reason to. Well, I don't think so, and I would never like anyone to just, I don't know, some it's very surprising how humbling some of these situations are.
Oh,
I,
absolutely.
I don't know if you're familiar with Tangerine Dream in any sense, but in 2012 I met Johann Schmoling or Johannes Schmoling.
Uh-huh.
He was in the group late 70s, early 80s. Uh, he went off to do solo work too. I
Hmm.
could tell the music he was adding to Tangerine Dream in that time. To meet him in Budapest in front of me, shake hands. Um, I just remember the first thing I said to him, "You're a legend," because he was to me. But I
Wow.
never seen someone shrink back and look so humble. Now at the time, I didn't really understand it. I just thought, no. I said it again. I said, "No, you're a legend." A few years later, people are saying things like that to me, and not the legend thing, but saying lovely things about the music. Uh, and then I understood where he was at. If that makes sense. So it
Mm.
just goes to show sometimes other things in your life do come back, and I did relate to that.
Well, I think when you reach success, when you have a success in any facet of life, it's humbling, and people will tell you, you know, how good you are, and people appreciate that, But I think it's a great feeling. I think it's a great feeling, John, because you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. At that point. I mean, not that you do again. You do it for yourself, but there's definitely a sense of you get that warm and fuzzy feeling inside when someone tells you, "Hey, man, great job. What you're doing is amazing." They're when you're acknowledged and you're recognized. It's a great feeling as well. I think uh, so.
It's
I
better. It's
yeah.
better than it's definitely been. It's better than being told what you're doing is complete rubbish. What are you
Oh
doing,
yeah,
man?
no,
You know.
of course, no, 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 yeah, absolutely, man.
No, I
That's
mean
yeah,
it the support slightly minimal without bigging people up keeps that groundedness, and
yeah,
I think that's important. I do. I just think it's that if you start wanting to have all these likes and loves, I don't know. I don't know what type of person you are to want that even. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Because I'm happy to do what I do,
Hmm.
and it's nice to be to have some sort of. As you get older, you start losing your words. But
Well,
I was going to say,
but you're not expecting anything back with
not
what you're
really.
doing,
No,
right, John?
no. I mean, I just don't want big words, if that makes sense. Because I still don't feel that. I don't feel like that, and I don't think I'm worthy of that.
Yeah,
I'm just doing what I'm doing and just enjoying what I'm doing. And if people are entertained uh, and like the music, like the films, anything
yeah,
that'll do me. But don't go overboard. Just
right.
don't make me into a rock god or some wonderful film actor or director or whatever. I couldn't take that, honest.
Yeah. No, and at this day and age, though, John, I think with technology, with all these tools available to anybody, right, to everybody, you have all these filmmakers, you have musicians, you have just, I mean, an infinite amount of of people doing stuff, creating art. But I think with that being said, when you can create something that's noteworthy and that stands out amongst the millions that are trying to do something out there, I mean, there's something to be said for that, you know. So, but yeah, I hear you're a very humble man. You're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it with expecting anything back. So that's what I'm saying. And I think when you can be recognized, it's just a cherry on top. It's just it's all gravy when you're acknowledged. So
I tell you where I get my biggest pleasure by inspiring people. If people said it's inspired them, that's the thing that makes me the most happy.
what is it, John? I'm so sorry. Can you repeat
That's
that?
okay. It's just when people say that they've been inspired by me.
Oh,
That's the thing that makes me the most happy.
that's a huge compliment. Absolutely, no doubt about that. Again, because because you're creating something, whatever it is that you're creating can motivate somebody else to want to do what you're doing. I think that's because you're doing something right. Then I think you're doing it right, and it's touching the audience. It's meaningful to the audience.
It's utilizing time. Utilizing time right. You mentioned it yourself. I'm still doing a full-time job. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get to retirement, as we all are. But then you're probably too good. But find time. Use it. Time is crucial.
No doubt, John. Absolutely, John. John, this has been an outstanding experience, conversation for myself. Before you go, where can the viewers and the listeners see all of your work? Go ahead and plug. We mentioned the YouTube stuff already.
Totally useless. It looks like my name is on the camera, One Eye to See thing. There is a oneeye2see.com website. It does have all the little buttons or whatever they're called that takes you to places. Some of the sites now are a bit crashed. I think it's something like Wiggle or whatever it's called, and I don't use it. But I'm on YouTube. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Bandcamp. If people are aware of these particular websites and Twitter and Instagram,
okay,
there might occasionally be a variation of my One Eye to See, where it's an underscore before the One Eye to See. That's because someone else got in there before me. Simple as that.
Oh.
But as you see, must be one of the easiest phonetic kind of names you can come up with. In fact, if you put One Eye to See on Google, it comes up about on 7 pages.
Really?
You'll find me. You will find me. And I've never paid Google for anything. And Google don't take me off because I said that.
Oh no, I like that. I like that title.
Well, that's because of this. I've never been able. This is a lazy eye here. So I've never sort of seen it properly out of this eye.
Oh,
so
wow.
One Eye to See is true again.
Oh, okay.
But as I discussed with you, having children, I wanted to be sort of hip and trendy, and I thought maybe this number alphabet combination would be a bit more funky. So I was trying to be hip and trendy.
Oh, okay.
And there isn't another One Eye to See out there.
So, no, I like it. It works. It's very
well. Coming to think of it, the other advice: check that name out before you kick off, because I've got some other friends in a group called Ix. Now, if I say Ix to you, how do you think that's spelled?
Ix-U?
It's spelled IX, as in 9 in Roman numerals. If you put that in Google, it's lost. They do regret the name they come up with. They thought it was a clever name, but it's not as clever as they thought because they don't get found.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, so if you're going to come up with an actor name or a director name or something, tapping your pseudonym first in Google and see what comes up or what doesn't come up. So at least going forward, if anyone's ever checking you out, they'll find you by your name.
Right, right. Okay, yeah, that's a good piece of advice. You gotta make sure you're original, right? I mean,
Make sure you're
uh,
original.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I like that one eye to see. That's very clever. You
I
know.
mean, everything about this show, since you contacted me and we contacted each other,
Mhm.
just thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity.
Oh no, you're welcome, John. You're welcome back anytime. I would love to have you back in the future. After you release some of these upcoming projects and see where you're at and what's going on. And man, I would love to get Nikolai on here too. Maybe I can.
We'll have a word with him. We'll
What's
have a
that?
word with him. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
He may
um,
go a bit vacant.
go a big what? A big what?
He may go vacant. So sometimes he doesn't know if you're talking to him or not.
Oh, really? Oh,
He's
oh,
a very interesting guy, and he
oh,
knows so much about film. If you visit his home, he's just got racks of books, and it's all about film. Just
wow.
amazing. His knowledge and his credentials. You know, I will tell you now. I'm literally no one. I haven't gone to college or university to this, but he has. I think. I think he's got accreditations and all sorts. So
And
yeah,
does he live in the UK?
he does. He lives in London. Yeah.
Oh wow. Mm,
Funny
very cool.
enough, he came from Denmark to London because he was starstruck. He wanted to go to all the theatres, yeah,
Wow.
and meet some of the actors and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, I would love
he's
to.
got a big history. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look him up. Maybe we'll get him on here. Who knows? You know.
Well, I'm seeing Martin tomorrow, as I said. Um, we'll have a word together to say like, let's get Nikolai to get in contact with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be great. I appreciate it, John. And like I said, say hi to Martin for me, and give him my best.
I will.
But it's been a pleasure. Absolutely, John. Like I said, we'll get you back in the future. Good luck with all of your endeavors, all your projects. I know you're gonna break a leg on all of them, and continue to do your thing. Thank you so much for being an inspiration to me. And wow, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate everything you've done. So thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have Mr. John Whitaker out of London, England, United Kingdom. Go check him out on YouTube. One Eye to See, the way you see it spelled there on the screen. You can see a lot of his work on his YouTube channel. Follow him on Instagram, on Twitter, and what an inspiration! What an inspiration he is. I'm sure I'll guarantee you'll like what he's done, everything that he's done. His music, his films, his videos, and what he will continue to do. So check him out. Don't forget to subscribe here to our channel. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review, rate and review. Give us the 5 stars, and like, comment, share. I love interacting with the audience, with the viewers out there. That's always, for me, that's super important. So let's continue to interact and communicate and go forward. So thanks again for everyone who's tuning in on our recording here on YouTube, Profile Pod TV. I look forward to our next episode next week. And you guys, everybody take care out there. Stay safe. For John Whitaker, I'm Andy Anatomical, a.k.a. AA for Profile Pod TV. I will see you once again next week, guys. So always remember to take it Easy.